Hey yo, Wogwon guys, it's me. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be ranking all of the Dark Souls 3 non-DLC bosses. This video will be my very first scripted video that I've ever made on my channel, so please try to excuse my poor reading throughout the video. Another thing to note is that all the gameplay shown in the video is by me on a new character, where I only used a dagger. So I mean, be sure to roast me in the comments for how poorly I play. The bosses will be ranked via 3 categories chosen by me. These categories are my personal enjoyment of the fight, the difficulty of the fight, and the community score. Community score will be the amount of people who have chosen it as their favourite boss within a small sample of people. The other 2 scores will be determined by me and me alone. The total of all 3 categories will dictate where the boss is placed within the rankings. And with all that being said, let's get into the list. Coming in at the bottom of the barrel is the Deacons of the Deep. This boss, or should I say collection of basic mobs, is just a boring fight really. It offers no challenge to the player, nor any fun. That being said, I did die to it on my first ever playthrough, because of the fact they can fill the room with curse. But if you know how to counter it, you just whack the guy casting it and they die. Next up on the list we have the curse-rotted Greatwood. Just like the Deacons, this boss really offers no fun to the player, as its attacks mainly consist of standing up, sitting down, or he just has the trots. This kind of reminds me of a certain rich boy who has a reading pen. Anyway, the curse-rotted Greatwood comes second on my list. Who was that guy again? Yhorm the Giant. I mean, what really is there to say about him? This fight's a joke. I mean, you could have 2 choices in the Yhorm fight. Kill him with 5 hits from the Storm Ruler, or spend hours hacking away at his feet. I mean, the fight could be made even more trivial if you follow Sigurd's questline. Now you got 2 Storm Rulers killing Yhorm. Ancient Wavin is just another one of the easy and bland Dark Souls bosses. Yeah, I say it Wyvern, not Withen, because I say it properly. Anyway, this boss has the same problem as Yhorm. Your options would spend ages cutting away at its ankles like the little pest you are, or alternatively, you can go up and smack his head in for an instant kill. In short, this boss fight is just the same as progressing through Archdragon Peak in any other fashion. Now, getting into the more interesting bosses of the Dark Souls 3 game, Vort. I mean, Vort's a fun and challenging fight for beginners of the game. I mean, he is the second boss, but the fight just kind of boils down to hug the booty until it's safe to attack. Although that is the general strategy, to kill the beast bosses in Dark Souls 3. This is the fight that opens up this video into some more interesting bosses than the ones we've already had. Coming at us from the Vape Nation is the Vape Lord Warner himself. He has the bracelets to protect him from the abyss that he probably got off eBay. But I mean, to be fair, not long after you meet him, he's probably going to lose his bracelets and then get swallowed by the abyss. The fight is incredibly easy, but things do get quite hectic if not sorted out immediately, as he likes to spawn spin wheel skeletons to help him in the fight. Coming in after the Vape Lord himself, and at the end of D tier, is the Old Demon King. This Fireboy will be one of the easiest bosses you have to fight, or he's going to be a real challenge. The choice really boils down to when you fight him in the game. Being an optional boss means that you can fight him right after the Abyss Watchers, or after Nameless King if you wanted to. I mean, in my case, I fought him just before Nameless, but with that, D tier comes to an end. Starting off in the C tier are the Crystal Sages. The boss is a really cool concept, but I mean, it's made easy. However, that might just be because I always fight him after the Abyss Watchers, because I always forget that he exists until I have to go through the Pontiff Sullivan Gate. I mean, nonetheless, the Sages was a cool concept. That can, I mean, it can sort of mind game players with its fake duplicates. Ah, finally taken notice, have you, of the power of my beloved Ocelot, child of dragons? Well, I will not give him up, for he is all that I have. I don't know why I remember the opening of that fight so well. Welcome to Dark Souls Prepare to Cry edition, because now it's time to include Osiris, the Consumed King, into the list. This fight is sad, and you can actually begin to feel bad for the poor dragon, until he... yeah, that. Yikes. Anyway, the boss fight isn't too far, but he makes the C tier due to his awesome cutscene. The boss fight consists of either dying to his massive damage, or beating him first try without phantoms, or knowing his moveset, like I did in preparation for this video. Not flexing. Oldrich, the Devourer of Gods, is a really annoying fight. Just like in PvP fights against the mage, Oldrich employs a hit and run strategy against the player, being an annoying little... Not to mention the arrows. Oh god, the arrows. I'm done speaking about this boss, I'm done. Ludix Gundeer. I mean, not really an L, but it's an I. Anyway. Oh, what a boss. A great opener to Dark Souls 3. In fact, maybe even a perfect one. Gundeer, to me, seems to be a perfect balance of punishing attacks, while still being beginner-friendly. The only problem with Gundeer is that he becomes rather easy after the first playthrough. Especially if you had fought Champion Gundeer in your last playthrough. The only reason he isn't higher on the list is the slow cooldown between his attacks and the fact you can parry him. Then again, he is the literal first boss, and new players will need the chance to Estus and recover from his attacks. Ah, so we reach the top of C tier. Dragon Slayer Armor is a really fun boss. I mean, the boss kind of reminds me of PvP fights, but kind of scripted. It's hard to explain why this boss is so fun, but the boss is really fun. The only problem with this boss is his shield. In rare cases, he will hide behind his shield for what feels like years, not giving you any chances to get any hits on him whatsoever. That being said, he will struggle to land hits on you if he's adopting this stance, so be patient, he'll probably attack sooner or later. Starting off in the B tier is the Soul of Cinder. That's right, the final boss of Dark Souls 3 only manages to land himself into the B tier. Yikes. Soul of Cinder is just kind of disappointing as a final boss. Despite this, the boss is still kind of fun in all honesty. The only reason he made it this far into the list is the whole amalgamation of Overlord shtick he has going on. Also, when Gwyn's theme begins to play during his second phase... cream. Ending off the B tier, just as quickly as it began, is Champion Gundeer, an absolute alpha male of a boss. Trying to parry this boss can sometimes be painful to do, but if it's done right, it can make any player feel accomplished. The only reason he lands this far down in the tier list is how much of a little he becomes when he is against the parry god. That's right, sit down Gundeer, you absolute pleb. Callum's Corner is here, and he is an alpha male. Look at him. Starting off with the A tier is Pontiff Sullivan himself. That's right, the Shepherd. The gatekeeper of Dark Souls, who will stop at nothing to decimate any filthy casual heading his way. The only reason this boss falls behind is the same reason as Champion Gundeer. He is a parry god slave. That's right, if you can parry really well, he can't hit you at all without risking being reposted. And I mean, that kind of lowers him. At the end of A tier is the Fidget Spinner of Boreal Valley herself. The reason this boss scores so high is due to the difficulty and flexibility. Being able to take on this boss at any point is really cool and allows for really good players to get a massive head start and snowball out of control by the end of the run. The only problem with this boss is her spinning. Her spinning is the bane of me, I swear. finally into the S tier with the Twin Princes. Now, before you get angry at this decision, just remember that this is my tier list, and I personally really enjoy this fight. Anyway, I used to really struggle with the Prince Lothric fight, and I wasn't able to dodge many of his attacks at all. Just for words, this spot marks our grave, but you may rest here too, if you'd like. Infuriated me. But then, I just decided to don the Sunbro Covenant and kill him over and over and over again. But that feeling of when I managed to kill him without taking a single hit, oh, it was good. Second to the top is the Nameless King. The two stages contrast perfectly, with the dragon being slow and giving a lot of time to Estus in between attacks, and the king himself being a relentless warrior who gives barely enough time to Estus between any of his attacks. Also, a small tip for the second stage Nameless King is to dodge just before the sword hits you, not during the wind-up. Dodging during the wind-up works for 90% of the other bosses, but not for Nameless, If you have been keeping track, you know that the Abyss Watchers are my #1 choice for the best Dark Souls 3 boss, and maybe best boss in the whole series. He had by far the most community votes for the best boss, and he wins my vote too. From the atmosphere before the fight to the atmosphere during the fight, the Abyss Watchers are just the best. Now I'll leave you with the kill I had on him. You can skip ahead to the time on screen now if you want to go to the outro. thank you all for watching the video, guys. I put a lot of effort into this video, so I'd appreciate likes and subscribe, blah blah blah. Other than that, have a good one.